Well, we can execute our test as a suite, right? We can right click and execute from testng.xml. We have, test suite.xml file. We can right click and execute so that all the tests will be executed, or we can execute it from the command line using mvn test, right? Well, but I want to execute a single test alone. We know how to do that. I can click on this run button and select run purchase test one, right? So let me execute this one and let's check the result. Now it's showing an error. Okay, let's check it out. It's showing that there is an exception. This is a TestNG exception. Okay, so what's the error? Parameter browser is required by before class, one method before class. Okay, so let's investigate it. Let's go to before class method. It's in the test space. So here we have the before class method. This is the before class method, and it was complaining about the parameter browser, right? It has got the browser parameter here. So this argument didn't get a value. That's why it got failed. Okay, because whenever you execute a test, definitely the before class method will also be executed, right? So in this case, this doesn't get a value because we didn't execute the test from testng.xml file. Okay, if we right click and execute, from here testsuite.xml, then definitely, we have defined a parameter here as a browser, and the value is Chrome. This value will be passed, right? But in this case, what happened is like we simply executed it from here in this run button. So it will try to execute only this test, but it will also execute before class method. And here we have the argument, but the argument doesn't have a value. So testng is throwing an exception saying that, this is not available. The value is not available. So if you want to execute the single test alone in this particular scenario, then we need to give a mechanism to supply some value to this argument always. So if this method before class is not receiving a value for this browser parameter, in that case you have to give a default value. So let's see how we can give a default value here. So let's give a default value to this browser argument using @optional annotation. So I'm gonna add @optional here, and I'm gonna give a value. Okay, so the default value that I'm gonna give is Chrome. Okay, so if it doesn't receive a value from somewhere else, then the default value is going to be Chrome. Okay, well, now I'm gonna refactor this println statement in a more meaningful way. So let's one more println statement, and here I'm gonna give browser, and then I'm gonna give the browser value. Yes, this one. Okay, browser. So it will print in a different line, okay, which is more readable, right? Let me delete this one as well, this colon, okay, because we don't have colon in other vanilla statements. All right, now let's try it out once again. Let's execute it and see the change. Wow, now the test is fixed, right? Now it's not throwing the error anymore. It's receiving the value Chrome. Okay, the browser argument received the value through optional annotation. Okay, because it doesn't receive it through parameters, right? So if it doesn't receive it through here, then it'll set testng will set a default value through optional annotation. All right.